Um, and also, this is being recorded. If you have Q&A, we'll come to that section in the broadcast, and we'd love to hear from you at that time. If you run into any technical glitches, which can happen as we are on the internet, send us an email at forgiveforhealth@gmail.com, and we'll do our best to bring you back online. If not, just listen on Facebook. So today we want to look at a very interesting topic for National Nutrition Month. It's nutrition, sleep, and forgiveness. Yesterday was World Sleep Day, for those who don't know, and all of these things are connected. If you don't eat right and you don't sleep well and you live in unforgiveness, your world can be hijacked. And so we're going to talk today a little bit about how we should restore, nourish our bodies, renew our minds, and release our hearts so we can have a healthy and balanced life. I have a wonderful guest with me today, Mrs. Sharika Monde Robinson. And she's going to tell her life story and share lots of stuff with us. So you want to stick around to hear from her because it's going to be an unforgettable broadcast. So you might be wondering, what is this meeting about? So I'd like to sort of take you through a few slides that talks a little bit about the ministry and why we meet and why we have this every second Saturday of the month. Forgiveness Live and the purpose of this meeting is sort of develop and discuss relevant forgiveness related topics and share with people with lived experiences. So Mrs. Monde Robinson is going to share some of her lived experiences with us, which is better than any book you can read. She's gone to the School of Hard Knocks, and so have I. And so we're going to share from that stance with you today. We also will provide tools and resources to help our listeners successfully navigate their issues in their own lives. So whether you're dealing with bad, healthy, unhealthy eating habits, or you're dealing with issues with your sleep, or you're dealing with unforgiveness, we're going to help you today with that. So let's keep going. So what I wanted to do right now is we're talking and we're coming from Forgive for Health Ministry, but we thought it was important for you to understand a little bit about the ministry. And I think most of us realize that we talk about love, we want to know what love is. Define it for me. Today, we're going to talk a lot about forgiveness. So I wanted to start by defining what that is. As you can see on the screen, forgiveness is the act of deliberately giving up resentment towards an offender while fostering this undeserved quality of beneficence or goodwill and compassion towards the person. This is a very old definition going all the way back to 1996, but we love it here at the ministry because it talks about two different types of forgiveness. Decisional forgiveness, making a decision to deliberately give up a resentment, and then emotional forgiveness, managing those emotions. So instead of feeling hate and hurt, compassionate, and you're thinking about goodwill towards this person. So we love this. And so we ground our work using this definition of forgiveness. There are many others, but we chose this for that reason. So a little bit about our ministry. We're a faith-based 501c3 Christian organization in Stone Mountain, Georgia. But as I said, we work across the globe. Right now, we're working with a grant from Nigeria and Ghana. So we go worldwide with our work. We're led by a diverse board of directors and our pastoral lead, Pastor Emmanuel Williams. And all of this started by the stirrings of the Holy Spirit about 15 years ago as an offshoot from my doctoral study when I looked at forgiveness and the health of African American divorcees. And ladies and gentlemen, the data I saw and the impact of unforgiveness, I could not go back because it affects so much of us, so much of our emotional, spiritual, and mental health that people take for granted. And I felt led by God to start doing something about it, especially for minorities. When we start walking with unforgiveness, it actually helps us to go to an early grave. And so forgiveness is linked to your mortality and your morbidity. And we'd love to talk with you more about that. I wanted to share also that we work in the clinical, religious, and community setting, and we thread forgiveness assessment, facilitation, and training into the fabric of all we do. We offer virtual and ongoing programs, so please take a minute to visit our website at forgiveforhealth.org for more information. Here's a little bit more about our mission and vision. Our value statement is healing all relationships for good. We realize that you can tell somebody that you're fine with them and pretend that you're happy, but unless you get to the root cause of the problem in a relationship, it'd be like putting dirt on our carpet. Eventually, it will explode. And so we get to the root cause of issues with unforgiveness. We help you to dig it up and we help walk you through the journey to forgiveness. So we really want to help people heal their relationships. Our vision is people living free of unforgiveness and all of its consequences. Living in unforgiveness is what like walking with a shackle around your neck or drinking poison and thinking somebody else is going to get hurt. You're the only person who gets hurt by all of this.
Mhm.
And then our mission statement is helping people grow and thrive with a forgiving heart. And it's on the back of our background here that Mrs. Robinson and I are using today. A little bit more about our programs and initiatives. We have RT and Forgiveness, and it's a Bible study circle, and it's every Friday night at 7:30. We'd love to have you anywhere you're listening to. You can join us. We've had people join from Canada, any part of the U.S. It doesn't matter. Once you can get on at 7:30, we'd love to have you. We have RT and Forgiveness Juniors, which is for children 14 years and under. And we just this morning spent time with those children talking about
Mhm.
stress. You should have heard them. And what the
Mhm.
most unforgettable thing about this morning was one of them drawing a picture of the cross and saying, "Take your stress to God." And that was her takeaway from today, which to me blessed my heart totally. So that's every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. We have an annual Forgiveness, Population Health, and Equity Conference. This year, again, is the third Saturday of every September. And we're going to have some parts of it online, and we're going to have some of it on ground. And so look for more information. We should be opening registration later this month. We also have a celebration for the World Day of Peace, which is September 21st, because obviously we know there's a connection between unforgiveness and this peace, or forgiveness and peace. So we work to celebrate these United Nations celebrations. We have a Restoring Your Heart support group, which we'll have in the fall, which focuses on 8 weeks of intensives with divorcees who want to restore their hearts, to sort of figure out why they're picking the same part, and maybe marrying 3 times, but picking the same man in a different color or a different
Mhm.
name, and helping them sort of change their dance so they can have successful relationships. We have this monthly broadcast, which is called Forgiveness Live, and it's a show podcast blend together. But it's an amazing program, and we're in our second year of programming for Forgiveness Live. We also have an RT and Forgiveness Facilitators training where we train people around the world to implement our RT and Forgiveness Circle, which is an evidence-based program, which even Emory University has come to evaluate our work and found excellent results from our efforts. And so we're working now with the University of Chicago and other places to implement this program across the country. We'd love to hear from you anywhere you are in the world. We'd love to help you set up a program so you can also get this started. We also have one-on-one forgiveness coaching and group coaching. So if somebody wants to talk about divorce, or they want to manage their mental health, or they want to manage money, or they want to eat better, we have coaching sessions for that. Or whatever else you need, let us know. We're working now to also get upskill in managing veterans' health. So Mrs. Robinson, that's a note to you. Mental health. We're
Mhm.
working on children and mental health. So we have coaches being trained as we speak in the ministry to help with that. So we offer those services as well. And then we offer diabetes and chronic disease management service and medical nutrition therapy. And so I'm excited as a dietitian to offer that as a part of our work as well. So we talked again about coming back to the topics. I wanted to give you that overview, but I wanted to also, before I bring on my distinguished guests, I wanted to sort of tee up the conversation, not only about talking about the ministry, but also talking about sleep and food.
Mhm.
So I wanted to run through a few quick slides. This is National Nutrition Month. We have over 100,000 dietitians and dietetic technicians that are working across the country in hospitals, WIC clinic, running their own private practice, that are here to help people to live the best life possible by eating healthy. This is an annual event created by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, which I've been a member of about too many decades to count. Yeah, I think when there were dinosaurs on the earth. And so this is a perfect time to sort of refresh your routine, rebalance your and manage your balance, refocus on balanced nutrition and build healthy habits so you can have a long-term health. Regardless of the goal, we know that small, consistent improvement can make a powerful difference. Small steps makes
Mhm.
big rewards, is another way of saying it. Simple thing, if you hear nothing else today, to improve your nutrition is to aim for balance at every meal. So try this plate formula. A half a plate of vegetables and fruit, make it colorful and varied. The more color, the better. A quarter plate of whole grains, brown rice, quinoa, whole grain pasta, etc. And a quarter of the plate with lean proteins, your fish, your beans, your tofu, your poultry, etc. And add in dairy or fortified alternatives such as tofu and other things that you might want to use, or lactate or soy milk, almond milk is recommended. And eating a variety of colors help ensure you're getting a broad range of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and the fiber that you need. Just a quick tip, free tip. Add one extra vegetable to each meal each week, and that alone can improve the way you're eating. So, and I say to my patients, don't think you can't start with breakfast. Make an omelette, put some tomatoes, some onions, bell peppers in there, and you already started your vegetable intake for the day. Some other things that are important as you think about healthy eating is make sure you stay hydrated. Just mild dehydration can wreak havoc in your life. It's your skin, your digestion, everything can change if you're not hydrated. Because remember, we're over 70% water.
Mhm.
And so this can even affect your appetite. So start your morning with a glass of water. Drink plenty of pure water throughout the day and include things like cucumbers, oranges, and soups so you can get all of the extra fluids that you need. Focus on nutrition density. So get some peas and beans or legumes, have fatty fishes, your nuts, sweet potatoes and berries. And so instead of restricting foods, instead focus on adding more nourishing options to your day. So a baked sweet potato here, a handful of pistachio or cashew, some sardines, which is a fatty fish that is so underrated. It is more powerful than maybe a big slice of salmon that would cost you like six times the price.
Mhm.
But eating all those bones and nut and skin and everything on that sardine gets you so many nutrition, so much nutrition. I would say run to the store and get some. Practice mindful eating. Improving your nutritional status is just not about what you eat, it's about how you eat it. Slow down during meals. For instance, it takes 20 minutes for the belly to tell the brain that it's full. So if you're rushing and eating, you're going to miss those signals. If you're eating and scrolling on the phone, you're also going to tune into hunger. You won't tune into your hunger and fullness cues, and you'll just keep eating. And definitely you won't enjoy the flavor and the texture because
Mhm.
you're just in a different place. So mindful eating can really improve our digestion and help prevent overeating, which of course is going to lead to weight gain, which we'll talk about later. We also suggest that you plan ahead for success. A little preparation goes a long way. So spend a little extra time in the kitchen on Sundays, for instance. Plan your meals before going grocery shopping. Try some meal prepping and keep healthy snacks visible and convenient. And if you keep them nearby, you're more likely to choose them. I tell my clients who are struggling with eating highly saturated and processed foods, if you don't bring them home, you can't eat them. So leave them in Kroger's or Publix or wherever you buy them and bring home healthy foods. And it's more likely that you'll eat healthy because you have less choice of the unhealthy things. I also want to suggest that people watch for the hidden fat. Generally, we hope that you can reduce your added sugars, sodium, and highly processed foods in your diet. Read labels and compare. And even small reduction can positively impact your heart health and blood sugar balance over time. I give you an example of this. I went out to dinner recently with a friend and I said to him, have them put your salad dressing to the side. He came and they said, no, pour on how much you need. He left half of the amount that they had in the container. He said, oh, I enjoy my salad. It never occurred to me that I could pour my own salad dressing because you might look at the salad and it's 300, 200 calories. But by the time you add the salad dressing, which is over 300 calories by itself, you have just doubled the calories. And so he enjoyed the salad without all of that extra fat on it. And he said, I'll never go back to asking the restaurant to mix my salad for me. Just that made a difference and it reduced the amount of fat he had for that meal. Set one realistic goal each month instead of just overhauling everything, which is what a lot of us want to do. We want to fix everything overnight. Remember, wherever you are today, you did not start eating that way today. So choose one sustainable change, such as eating a vegetable or two meals daily, drinking more water instead of sugary beverages, cooking a homemade meal maybe 3 times a week, etc. Consistency, hear me, ladies and gentlemen, beats perfection. Nobody is perfect except Christ. And so all of us can indulge, but it doesn't mean that if you start small and add to it, you can get to where you need to go. Goals are easier to get. They're difficult if we try to do it all at once and fix it all at once. So that's a little bit about food. And so, catching my breath, I'm going to move into the mystery of sleep and its impact on our health. So, sleep is a naturally reoccurring biological state, which is marked by changes in our brain activity, reduced responsiveness to external stimuli, and physiological restoration. What this means is that you're laying down like you're dead, your hands not moving, your body's not moving, but oh my God, your brain is working. And it is basically a time for physiological restoration. It is often misunderstood as simply rest, but in reality, sleep is one of the brain's most active and essential recovery process. Every night, your brain is moving through various sleep cycles to restore its ability to think clearly, regulate emotions, and function effectively. So during deep sleep, the brain is removing metabolic waste, it's repairing the neural pathways, and restoring its capacity for focus, learning, and emotional stability. This phase plays a vital role in protective cognitive health and supporting emotional regulation. REM sleep, which occurs later in the night, strengthens your memory consolidation, emotional processing, and the brain's ability to adapt and respond to life's challenges. And so research has identified sleep as a biological process, which is essential for mood regulation, concentration, and stress recovery. So sleep, basically in a nutshell, is when critical neurological restoration takes place. So for today, I'd ask if you don't remember anything else, is do not just think about sleep as I'm going to get rest. Think about sleep as doing the most important thing you can do to have a healthy and a long life. It's better than exercising, eating right, not drinking alcohol, all of that together. If you could do all of those things and don't sleep well, and you will have problems with your health. Sleep impairment. When sleep is impaired or insufficient or disrupted, the recovery pathways we just talked about are impaired. As a result, the brains become more vulnerable to anxiety, emotion reactivity, and impaired decision making and cognitive fatigue, like you're walking around in a fog. Over time, poor sleep can undermine mental clarity and overall brain function. And chronic sleep loss increases risk for anxiety and depression, while stable sleep patterns predict stronger emotional regulation. By the way, sleep disturbance is one of the most commonly reported symptoms in the clinical setting. Your doctor is more likely to hear that you are not sleeping good than not that you're not eating well. So sleep is important. I borrowed this slide from a university I'm at doing my coaching, and it basically talks about what's important for brain health to sleep. And it's on this left hand side is some do's, and we have some don'ts. Do prioritize going to bed early. Sleep hygiene is important. So what it means is that if you have a regular scheduled bedtime and you go to bed, even if you're not sleepy, you're more likely to get a better night's sleep than going at 9 o'clock one night, 12 o'clock the other, 11 o'clock the other night. The body is out of whack and your circadian rhythm is trying to catch up with you. Get morning sunlight exposure soon after waking to regulate your circadian rhythm and support healthy melatonin production. That means you don't need to take melatonin as a drug because the body is making it, and it's going to help you easily fall asleep in the night. Dim the lights in the evening, especially before bed. This signals to the brain that it's time to prepare for sleep. Maintain this consistent sleep and wake schedule each day. That really is important. And stay active during the day and avoid excessive daylight time rest. I tell people, my client, if it's 3 o'clock and you feel sleepy, go exercise, because if you do sleep at 3 in the time, 3:30, you're basically going to mess up with your circadian rhythm and you won't sleep well that night. So try to not, if you're going to have a nap, try to do it at least before the 3 o'clock mark. And there's research to support some of that. Keeps dim light if you wake up during the night. So if you have to get to the restroom, some people have to do that because of bladder issues, or they might have had something late. Then keep your light dim. Don't turn on the whole light, and then you have to try to go back to sleep. When they don't here, don't consume caffeine late in the evening or the day. It interferes definitely with deep sleep and reduces your ability to recover in the brain. Don't rely on alcohol to help you to sleep. Many people do that. I take a drink and I go, knock out. No. It may have you fall asleep faster, but it reduces your sleep qualities and it's interfering with your brain's recovery. Don't expose yourself to bright light late at night. Especially some of us like the TV, which is on this next bullet. But bright light suppresses your melatonin and disrupt the brain natural sleep rhythm. So cut down the lights, set up the ambience so your body can get the signal it's time to get to bed. Don't use your phone, watch TV, or engage in stimulating activities in bed. And I know some of us are guilty of this. We can't fall asleep without the TV. These are all training the brain to associate the bedtime with wakefulness rather than with sleep. So your sleep is going to be disrupted. And don't stay awake in bed for long periods trying to fall asleep. If you cannot fall asleep, get out of bed. Return when you're asleep to preserve the brain's association between your bed and sleep. So get up and go sit in a chair. And most people find themselves, I have had to do that. And I find myself wake up the next morning, I'm in the sofa. How did I get here? Well, I got up in the night and I couldn't sleep. So I took a walk and sat somewhere and then fell asleep. Don't take long or late naps, which I already talked about. So I want to thank Light University for this wonderful resource that they sent out. So I have talked a lot, so it's time for me to take a break. But I hope this sort of cues us up for this wonderful session we're going to have today with my very special guest, Mrs. Sharika Monday Robinson. She is a daughter, a wife, a mom, a world traveler. She's an HR director and a Navy veteran. Mrs. Robinson, thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming to be our special guest today. Would you want to add to the introduction and tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure.
More about yourself.
I am all these sum up exactly, who I am. The most important is being a mother to my 22-year-old beautiful daughter Skylar. That's my sun, moon, and stars, and everything I do is for her. And I've been married for 30 years, so I'm proud of that. My sun, moon, I served in the Navy for 20 years before I retired. I started off as a hospital corpsman, so working with patients, and then went into administration and career counseling, which eventually led into HR. So I definitely am thankful for my experience into the Navy because, doing those 20 hard years has set my life up to where I am right now. My favorite
Amazing.
thing to do besides health and wellness, which Dr. Meg, I thank you so much for this platform because I don't see enough of us, and by us, I mean Black women promoting health and wellness. So anytime I could talk all day and night about that because literally it has changed my life. I wish I had the education that I do now some 30 years ago. I would have been a whole complete different person.
Thank
But
you.
other than health and wellness, traveling the world is something I love to do. Love to go new places and learn new cultures and just see the people and how they live and learn from them. A lot of time it makes you grateful and it humbles you because
Yes.
being in the United States, we're very spoiled. We really are. So I think that's pretty much it. I'm a proud daughter. I love my father. My mother passed away some years ago, but I had great parents and my sisters, Lawana and Ladon. They're my best friends. So I'm very fortunate for the life I live.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Monday Robinson. I have some other photos of you, and I'd love for you to take a minute and tell us about who these beautiful pictures were taken, and
Sure.
why did you want to share them today?
Because this, kind of sums up my journey. I guess the one that's furthest to the left is when I was in my heaviest at 190. COVID, I went from 170 to 190 in the blink of an eye because I think, like everybody else, I was depressed, didn't know what was going on in the world. We had bad leadership, was getting wrong information. I lost a really good girlfriend of mine, and it just really, food was my comfort zone for my daughter and I, and my husband. We make different recipes, and that's how we coped until I went to the doctor and stepped on the scale and realized I had gained 20 pounds. Of course, even before going to the doctor, I knew it because anytime I went up and down the stairs for the first time, I'm out of breath. My joints hurt. Going up and down the stairs. So
Oh,
I'm like, okay, something is not right. But yeah, definitely stepping on that scale, which I have avoided since I left the military in 2012, and seeing that I, gained that 20 some pounds like that just blew my world. And then, of course, during the annual exam, my EKG was all over the place. I was now pre-diabetic, had pre-diabetic, something I did not want to hear. Just nothing good came of gaining that weight as fast as I did. So I knew I had to do something about it. And I also have PCOS, which I was diagnosed with that at the age of 25. So I have struggled with my weight from 25, and now I'm 50 to 47 is when I started when I got the bad news and was like, I got to do something. I got to change my life. So the pictures on the left is when I was at my heaviest during COVID. The picture in the middle is in Panama, and I had been into the journey about 2 or 3 years into wellness, and just I could my energy level is just off the map now, like a whole complete total person. I could do things I never dreamed physically I could do. And I'm ex-military. So I am really grateful for the journey I've taken in life. And then the one on the far right is definitely Stone Mountain. I like to go walk that, because beautiful, something about nature, which is funny to me because as a kid, I always hated going outside, which is odd, but I did. But now I love to be outside and moving and, walking and just seeing and smelling, listening to the birds, just being out in nature. It soothes my soul now.
wow. Wow, Mrs. Robinson, I can tell that we're in for a treat, and I hope we have a lot of people listening to us. And so you have just sort of laid the foundation for the next part of our conversation,
Great.
because I would like to hear the stories, and I'm sure all our listeners would like that as well. So I want to start with some questions for you. And
Yes,
it's just
ma'am.
going to be me and you talking today. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that I have had to do and have helped people with as a part of
Awesome.
National Nutrition Month and what we do. So, if your current lifestyle had a theme song, what would it be and why?
I would say Mary J. Blige, Just Fine,
Just
because that
fine.
is where I am in life right now. Everything
Wow.
is just fine. I am living the life I dreamed I would live. Surrounded by the people, I love in my life, seeing new things, doing things on my own terms. I did things I didn't want to do to get to where I could do things I want to do. So yes, everything's just fine right now.
Just fine. I love it. Well, you see,
Hmm.
as I see today, it's International Women's Month
Yes,
and Women's History Month, and I thought today I'd represent the African diaspora,
love it,
and my theme is "It Is Well," and my song is "It Is Well with My Soul," and so I'm
love it.
excited, and so I just wanted so that's my theme song. So thank you so much. So you referenced COVID. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how well were you caring for yourself about 5 years ago?
5 years ago, I had been into the health journey probably for about a year at that
Okay.
time. So I would say I was probably at about a 7 then, because
Okay.
I just like this beautiful podcast you have. That is all I do. I listen to health podcasts morning, noon, and night because I love learning things that I did not know. Again, had I had this information years ago, I would have been, into my journey already. I would have definitely been healthier by now.
Thank you. I'm glad you were 7 because, maybe 6 years before that, you would have been a different number,
Oh,
right? So
6 years from that, I would have been a 2. I was doing everything wrong health-wise, eating to soothe my soul, eating the wrong things. Food was therapy. I had been out of the military, so I didn't have to move unless I wanted to, and of course, that meant I wasn't going to. Just doing everything wrong. Now, sleep is the one thing I've never had a problem with until recently, and once I got into menopause, but we can talk about that
we'll
later.
talk
But
about sleep in a few
never
minutes.
had a
Yes.
problem sleeping.
Alrighty, good. That's great. And you're
Mhm.
making progress, and you may be at a 10 right now as you keep
I
moving,
will give myself a strong 8.5 to 9.
right?
I
So
still
you
have some work to
continue.
do. I'm not perfect, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely getting there.
Yeah, so way, way, way past from 2, you're way up the other end. So
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
amazing. And so
Yes,
that's why
ma'am.
you're such a unique guest, and we're happy to have you.
Good.
What was your biggest wake-up call? You mentioned the scale, you mentioned
Mhm.
COVID, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. Which one of them was the biggest thing for you? Was it the physical shock of
Well,
just
that's
couldn't?
definitely the physical shock. I had gotten to where I didn't recognize myself. Um, the fact when you click, your joints are clicking going up and down the stairs. I mean, usually some people hate going down, but going up and down, it was painful. And I just knew I was carrying my joints, my back, my knees was carrying too much weight. I knew it.
So it was physically your biggest wake-up call. Thank you.
Yes.
So was what at what point in this journey from being able to not able to go up and down your stairs without pain, gaining all that weight, did you realize something had to change? What was the moment? Was it when you went to the doctor and got the
Oh, for sure.
diagnosis?
For sure. When I had to now go see a heart doctor, I had to figure out how not to get into diabetes to go from pre-diabetic into diabetes. I did not want that. So I knew I had to do something different.
Yeah. So we'll talk about what you did because we want to hear that secret. But before your weight loss, how did you feel? You had pain, but how did you
Mhm.
feel physically and emotionally? And
Emotionally, I I was unhappy. Everybody's a little bit vain. We like to look in the mirror and like to like what we see. I did not during that time frame. Even at 170, I was semi comfortable. Because black people, we tend to think we're a little big bone, and that's not
Mhm.
really the case. So that was my excuse at 170. I look like everybody else. My weight was for the most part in the right places, so it didn't bother me as much until maybe I saw a picture and I'm like, I could use a couple pounds, but nothing like when I hit that 190.
Oh, thank you. Let's think back to that time when you had that emotional feeling and you put on that weight. Did your eating habits reflect how you felt about yourself at
Oh,
that
for
time?
sure. Again, cake,
Talk
cookies,
more about
pies
talk more about
were
that.
cake, cookies, pies were therapy. Muffins, I mean, anything I could get my hand on that would make me feel better, I would eat it. And that's what I did. There was no portion controls, no intermittent fasting, none of that. Just whatever I wanted, I ate it.
So would you go shopping for them? Were they already in the house? How did that work for you in your home?
Um, I would Instacart it. And, of course,
Oh, because it was
DoorDash was
COVID.
on the scene. So, or DoorDash was just becoming a thing during that time. So, yeah, you could, even now, if I wanted to, I could have every fast food, restaurant at my door within a matter, of 30 minutes. So, yeah, just again at that time, you know how the world was. The people were dying. We had bad information, just didn't know what was going on. So yeah, food definitely was my comforter back then.
Yeah, I think for all of us, it's like, okay, we didn't, yeah, COVID was scary.
Hmm.
And it's like people are dying. I lost my best friend too from college.
No, I'm
She died.
sorry. I lost.
Actually, somebody came to our home
Mhm.
and with her daughter brought a friend home and with COVID, and the next thing I know, she's in the hospital on a respirator and she's gone.
Wow, I'm sorry.
So yeah, but so COVID was scary for all of us, and
Hmm.
the uncertainty of not have never been through a pandemic before was just, I mean, I think all
Hmm.
of us have some
We,
scars from
yes,
COVID.
yes,
So I'm glad you've gone through it. You've gained, you've lost the weight you gained. You're now in a healthier place. That's an amazing testimony of God and what He can do
for
if we
sure,
let Him in our lives.
for
So
sure.
let's sort of go into in that direction for a couple of minutes. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians 6:19 to 20, your body is a temple of the Holy
Mhm.
Spirit. When did that verse become personal for you in this journey?
Very recently, once I started getting on the track, after movement, I knew nutrition had to follow close behind. I first wanted to get moving just to get in the habit of doing something at that particular time I didn't think I liked. But so yes, nutrition started to follow, and then I just started to realize when you eat better, you feel better.
Yep.
And then you look better. Everything is so much better. My energy level, I no longer laid around all day. I had energy for whatever my husband or daughter, or family members wanted to do.
Yeah. Food is medicine, and you're
It
what you
really
eat.
is. It really is.
You
Not
are what
cake,
you
cookies,
eat.
pies, but real food, vegetables, fruits. Yes,
Yeah.
protein,
Yeah. So
good
you are what you
fiber.
eat. Yeah, people
Correct.
don't realize that. So
Yes.
thank you.
Mhm.
Did viewing your body as a temple shift how you approach food and exercise?
Yes. Yes,
How
because
so?
now
Talk
I
about
want to
how
take
it.
care. This is an engine. I want to keep this engine going for as long as I can. And I know the only way I'm going to do that is by putting good nutrition and moving my body. That's the only way it's going to
Yeah.
keep going.
Wow. Thank you so much. So as you think back, Mrs. Robinson, Monday Robinson, to the COVID journey, the weight loss, stepping on that scale in the doctor's office, as being blown away by what you were eating and how you felt. And then, you had this aha moment. I gotta do something because this
Mhm.
is a temple. You're right. If I don't put the right thing in, it's like a gas in the car. If I put the cheap gas in the
Mhm.
BMW, it's not gonna work, right?
Mhm.
Some of it cars might just conk out because you have the wrong petrol in there,
So
right? So
true.
we need to put the right things in. And
Correct.
when we put the right things in, we feel better. And I was sharing last night how important nutrition is for our immunity. A lot of people don't realize that what you're eating affects your total well-being and your health, and everything you eat become a part of you. Some
For
of it is
sure.
being wasted out, but
Mhm.
so you're taking in things that's so vital. And if you don't have the right mix and blend or balance of food and nutrition, then you can run into all sort of problems. So I'm happy you have come to that realization.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
let's think about, take us on going to the doctor. You're getting this diagnosis of pre-diabetes. You already had PCOS. You're having problems with your heart, and
Mhm.
you're like, oh my God. What is one small change that started you on this journey to where you are today that you want to share, or some of the changes that you implemented?
Definitely movement. Even being in the military, prior to the military, I was a majorette. I twirled a baton, but there was no physical. There was no running, no jumping, no basketball, no any of the sports. Getting into the military, I'm just going to be honest, I only exercised to pass my physicals, and that was twice a year. I would get busy for about a month just to pass, those tests, and then I would go back to my normal life. So I had never had a love for physical fitness until about 6 years ago. I started to just walking out in nature, on my treadmill. Walking is where it started. And then I'd find exercise videos on YouTube, and I do a lot of those. Eventually, the most number one thing of all that I think helped me was definitely strength training, lifting weights. Not to be like Shira or big and bulky, which most women will never get because we don't eat enough to do that. But something about that helped with the insulin resistance and everything else. And my PCOS symptoms went away. So I would definitely say strength training has definitely been a major source for me. And now I'm getting into strength and mobility, stretching, Pilates, things of that nature, because I don't want to drive my cortisol up so high by doing things that are very strenuous. So,
Yes.
once we pass 50, you kind of got to slow it down and use a little bit more sense. But yeah, I jump, I move, I run, I do whatever to move my body as much as I can throughout the day.
You're an amazing testimony of what somebody can do with the help of God
Oh,
and
for sure,
family support
for sure.
to get into, okay, I know I have this issue. And it was like, well, it does, you could be fatalistic. You could say, well, this runs in my family, or I've had this when
Hmm.
I was 25. I'm not doing anything about it. But instead, you jump right in. You
Hmm.
were motivated intrinsically, right? Sometimes people, well, I'll quit smoking, I'll stop drinking, I'll eat better, but it's because of your friend. You had that internal
Oh, I had to.
motivation.
I had to.
You wanted to be here for your baby,
That is
right?
exactly
You
it.
wanted to be with
Hmm.
your family and be able to
Hmm.
run around. And who wants to not be able to walk up their own stairs? I
Exactly.
remember years ago, I used to have my business a sticker on my car. And I'm in Kroger in Georgia, in Stone Mountain. And a woman, I saw somebody running out of the Kroger, and I'm like, so I'm coming out of her way, and I'm coming to you. I need your help. And I'm like, and she's panting like she's gonna drop. I'm like, okay, calm down. What's going on? She said, I'm dying. I need your help. Like that. She couldn't go up her own stairs. She's like, my
Mm,
husband and I are talking about selling our house. Leave my house, but I can't go up my steps to my bed. No, she had to move downstairs. It's okay, we can. And so I worked with her. And I mean, I have to say, she's still in the same house.
well, good,
But
good.
she got to the stage where she realized that if I don't do something,
Hmm.
I will not be able to live in this house. I can't get into my bedroom with my husband because she couldn't go up the flights of stairs.
Wow. Hmm.
So sometimes people have to get to that stage. So I'm
Hmm.
happy that you can testify today
Oh,
that
yes, ma'am.
you internally got motivated, you got into your walking, then you started you adding your strength training. I do YouTube videos, I walk, I run. I mean, somebody asked me recently, somebody actually saw me. This is another story, true story. I was coming out of a CVS recently. I went to pick up some cards and some other things. And she said, oh, you're so beautiful. You look like 27, 66.
You look great. You look great.
66. Quite honestly, when she told me that, I almost fainted because she looked like my grandmother. I said, ma'am, you're 66. She said, yes. Next month, I'll be 66. I almost fainted.
Wow.
So I started joking. I said, oh, I look like 27. Maybe that's why those 44-year-old men are flirting with me. She almost fell over in the car. The point is, I said, I don't know if it's genes. I don't know. I think I try my best, like you,
Hmm.
to try to think about what I put in my mouth because I
Hmm.
realize how important it is. An apple a day, making sure I'm eating my fruits, my veggies, choosing not to go eat the extra slice of pizza when it's calling my name because I'm thinking I can't get my cholesterol any higher. I need to live. So making those choices, and
Hmm.
definitely I have this Fitbit, and I'm telling you, best investment I've made. My food diaries, just making sure
Yep.
that I'm eating right, I'm tracking
Same.
what I'm eating,
Yep.
my
I do the same
10,000 steps, even if I have to walk around the bed, it's not
thing.
going down until I am finished.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think what you are sharing and what I'm sharing is to make sure anybody hearing
Hmm.
know that this is possible. With two African American women,
Yep.
we've had issues. Nobody here is perfect. And so starting small, remember we talked about
Yep.
consistency, not perfection, right? But getting out there and walking. I love to walk because I can just get lost looking in the
That's
clouds,
it. Hmm.
and just listening to God. I love to garden as well. I can't
Hmm.
wait to get back to Georgia and get my hand in the dirt because I close everything off and I talk to the Lord, but just working and getting that body moving is so important
It
for
is.
all of us to keep healthy
Hmm.
and to live long. And I am praying that God will take me to my 100th birthday. And I keep telling them I have 40 something more years to go. So, yes, I got to keep this well and refined. So,
There you go.
thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your story. And I hope and trust and hope that people are hearing us and will be encouraged to make some small
I
change
pray.
in their life.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about people listening, right? Because I've been told, well, you have skinny jeans, and I've been, that's why you're so skinny. But then I've been told the opposite. For instance, I'm too skinny for black men. I'm
Hmm.
too small for white men. So I don't know who I'm suitable for. And I'm like, I am perfectly designed by God. And I know I have lost friends who've gone to do plastic surgery to look like me, and they died. So
Wow.
although I'm not big boned, and so don't have any luck with the black man,
Hmm.
too skinny for white men, I am unique.
Hmm.
So let's talk a little bit to people who might be hearing that they're too skinny, they're too fat, or they might feel overwhelmed starting this journey. What would you say to somebody in that situation, given all of what you have gone through?
Honestly, you have to be happy. That's another reason I love the song Just Fine. You got to be good with looking in the mirror at yourself and what you see.
Yes.
I think with the right confidence, you can attract anything. And yes, people would say, "Oh, you're getting too small," or don't lose certain parts of your body. I didn't listen to any of that because I'm trying to live. I don't care, if some man don't desire me the way that I am.
Who
I'm
cares?
sorry. It's nothing I can,
Tough for
do
you.
about that. Yeah, I'm 52. I'm trying to live my best life right now, and that is, I'm sorry. I hate to say it. It's being on the smaller side. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is what it is. Um, so yeah, my health is more important than any of that other stuff.
Yeah. Health is wealth, right?
It really is.
Michael Jackson, anybody else you can think of with millions of dollars would have given anything to be here. If they could write a
Hmm.
check, they would still be here. And so
Yes,
when we lose our health, we lose everything. And people will
everything.
spend millions of dollars trying to gain wealth back. But the best way is to be in the prevention
For
mode,
sure.
take care of yourself so you can live that long, healthy life. And I mean, I don't want to be 100 and can walk. So, they said keep walking. Where you are at 50 or 60, it's a
Yes,
reflection of where you'll be. Just keep walking, keep moving, keep
I
eating
agree.
right, and don't fall.
And that's it. I strength train so that I
Don't
can
fall.
get myself off of the floor if I
Yeah.
need to.
Yeah.
Lots of people go in the hospital, they fall, or once they fall, a lot of them, as you know, being a dietitian, they don't survive
Yep.
because
Yep.
they don't have the muscle mass to be able to move
Yep.
and take care of themselves. So I
Yep.
want to always be able to move and take care of myself.
Yes. Thank you so much. So I would say to just like you to this conversation, if you don't love me like I am, then you are not for me, and I am not for you. And, but for overwhelmed people, I just say start where you are,
Hmm.
find a friend, an accountability partner, pick one thing. This month, I'm going to try to walk around the block.
Yep,
Walk around the block. Next month, you can extend it to two times around
exactly.
the block.
Exactly.
Next month, while I'm doing this, I'm going to drink extra bottle of water because some
Hmm.
people don't even drink water. It's back to being
That's
hydrated.
hmm.
And then instead of reaching for water, they're reaching for sodas or they're drinking
Hmm.
liquor. So start small. And what I think people most times, at least from my experience in the clinic as well as in my community setting, and I find people overwhelmed, Mrs. Monday, Robbins, I don't know if you agree with me, is that they want to do everything at this one time.
Yes. And I love when you did the introduction slides and you were going over the bits and pieces and you were basically tackle one at a time. I knew I just had to start with movement first. Once I got the movement going, then yeah, let me examine my diet. And much like you, I keep a food diary every day
Mhm.
of everything I eat.
Yep.
I used to try to track the calories, but I don't think we're as realistic with doing that.
Yeah.
So I just
I just
focus
use my
on,
Fitness Pal, and my
yes.
Fitness Pal tracks everything, and it connects the Fitbit, and yeah, so yeah.
And so yes, and Fitness Pal will definitely do it for you. I'm old school, so I just kind of keep a
Yeah.
like a journey. I put it in my phone of everything, and it just keeps me honest with what I'm doing. And I weigh myself every day. I don't know. I know some people may not like that, but that also keeps me on track
Yeah.
of know what I'm doing.
Yeah. So that's just important for all of us to know. So your exercises were your first thing that you went to. So how did that change not just your body, but your confidence and your faith? How did
Oh,
that?
tremendously. When you can put on a dress or, a nice suit and not have to plan everything around your belly or your stomach being too big, it's like night and day now. So
Yeah.
definitely I will say confidence is, and again, I know it's shallow, but most human beings, they are. When you look a certain way, people treat you better. It's just the truth of the
Yeah.
matter.
Yes. What about did any of this increase your faith, trust and confidence in God? Did any of that play into this?
Yes, I mean, I would talk to the Lord a lot on my walks, like, just help me to have the strength to keep, or show me what I need to do, which direction I need to go. And I was always put on the right track, always.
God never fails. I mean, if you're not
Never.
hearing him or listen or getting his messages, is because you've blocked him out. So yeah.
Yes.
So I'm gonna do a quick round here. What is your favorite healthy go-to meal?
Probably breakfast, I would say scrambled eggs and avocado. Those are my two favorites
Uh,
because
um,
those are both powerhouses within themselves, and together they give me so much energy. So I try to eat both just about every day.
that's amazing. Thank you. What's an old habit that you do not miss?
I will say binging on sweets, ice cream, cake, cookies, pies. And of course, you get that feel good, but then you get that postprandial somnolence after it because you go up and then
Sugar,
you start
yeah,
crashing.
just
It's
crash.
sugar crash after. And I hated how that made me feel. And before I even knew what the term was, I would tell people, I think Black people tend to call it the itis.
Yes, yeah, I fall
When
out.
you
I have a
correct,
big
and
meal
you're
and I
so
just go
tired and
crash in the bed.
sleepy. Yes, I definitely do not like that
Yeah, no
or
itis
miss
for
it.
me. It's like, don't eat yourself into any itis. You might not get up, right?
Correct.
So, all right. So, an old habit that you don't miss is all those sweets and the sweet cravings. They've all gone
Yes,
away. So we
yes,
praise God that He's transitioned your exercise, He's
yes.
transitioned your nutrition,
And
and
my
look how
mind.
amazing you look.
Food noise is real. I will say that. I know a lot of people don't like to hear it, but it really is. A lot of us,
Yes,
what am I going to eat? That was the whole focus. I'm going to eat this. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I try to live the 80-20, 80% of
yeah,
healthy, 20%. Am I going to never eat praline pecan ice cream? Of course I am. Am I going to drink sangria in Spain? Of course I am.
of course
But
you will.
yeah, it's all about, like you said, planning it out. Every day I try to plan out what I'm going to do and stick to that. And that keeps me on track as well as writing it down.
So if somebody's listening to you right now, and because I want to move into this sleep piece, we're going to
Hmm.
talk about menopause and other things.
Yes.
What would be at two or three sort of tidbits that you would say to them if you are, you've lost X amount of pounds? How much weight have you lost overall?
I lost a total of 50 pounds.
So you've lost 50 pounds. Somebody
Mhm.
is saying, Mrs. Monday Robinson, that is so nice of you, but I don't even know where to start. What would be three or two or three things that you would say to them now from where you have been on this journey? 50 pounds less, what would be some
Mhm.
stuff you would say to them before we move into sleep and discussion about sleep?
Sure. Get up and move. Move. You can walk. Everybody can walk. If you can't walk, they have chair workouts you can do on YouTube. You can do something. I've
Thank you.
seen people without limbs in the gym working out. You can do you can push yourself to do anything. The second thing I will say, get as much education, not to be a dietitian. I'm never going to know as much as you, but every day I try to learn as much as I can about food and nutrition. And that will help you out a lot. Just knowing what to put in your body, when and where. Um, Learn about insulin resistance, which is the key, to a lot of things. So just educate yourself, move, and then eventually eat right. Like you
Yeah.
said, put more colors into your food, fruits, vegetables, proteins, fiber. What's the other thing? The kimchi, kombucha,
Mhm.
what are those called? I'm trying to get
The fermented foods.
fermented. There you
Yeah,
go. Implement fermented foods into your diet, just piece by piece. But you said it from right from the start. You can't do everything
yeah.
overnight, but just get up and move. If you can train yourself to do that, everything else will fall into place.
Praise God. I want to sort of weave in some forgiveness here before I just transition to food, to sleep. Did in any time during your eating issues or that you maybe had with your challenges and your weight, was there any issues with being angry, unforgiven? Did any of that play into your diet, the way you were eating?
Oh,
Any
sure.
hurt or pain that you maybe want to
Sure.
share with us?
Sure. I mean, listen, anybody, all of us experience trauma within our life. I don't know anybody, I don't care how good I think my daughter has had it in life. I've tried to give her the best life possible. I'm sure she could have. Everybody has a story. Everybody has something they have had to get over or get through.
Mhm.
There's no testimony without having a test. So sure, just like everybody else, I stress eat or think about things. But forgiveness, I will say, those things I had to let go a long time ago. You can harbor such resentment for people and just wish the worst on them, but who is that hurting? It's hurting
You,
you. That
you,
person is not thinking about you 9 times out of 10. So
yeah,
for your own health, let that stuff go. Let it go.
totally agree. Yeah, it's like drinking poison and think somebody else is
Yes.
going to die, right?
Yes.
And they might have gone on, I've met divorcees and they're mad as hell with their ex-husband and he's
Mhm.
gone on married again and had have a
Exactly.
new life. Or
Exactly.
somebody at work treated you unfairly and you're mad as hell and you're sick in the hospital of an IV and they're cracking up and they've gotten 3 promotions since you've gone to the
For
hospital. And
sure.
so it's
For
like
sure.
we need to, and it's something I shared with the kids this morning. We can saddle the horses for war, but only
Mhm.
God can give us a victory. And He's in control of everything anyway. And so, we can plan, we can scheme, we can kick, we can holler, and but God's will and His promises are true. And so, if we trust Him, we bring all the pain and the hurt to Him. And He said,
Mhm.
"Vengeance is His, not mine."
I love
So what
it.
I've
That's
learned to
true.
do in these 6 years
Mhm.
is as you come, whether it's at work or at home or in the community, I pray and I might hold on to it for a day or two and then it's God, I'm walking and
Yeah.
I'm just releasing it to God, releasing it to
Mhm.
God. And I can almost feel a transfer going to Him and then I'm able to breathe and I let it go. And then I remember saying to my children once about somebody who really, really deeply hurt us as a family. I said, when God's finished with him,
Mhm.
He's going to send me back to Megan because she'll be kinder to me than how you're going to treat me because you can't miss dealing with the consequences of what you've done to people. But our jobs as believers, if we say we truly trust God, is to just let it go.
True.
It's easier said than done, but it can be
Mhm.
done because I've done it too many times to count.
Yes, ma'am.
Letting
Mm.
it go and let God be no God to deal with the situation. So thank you so much. So let's talk about sleep and
Okay.
menopause and all these other things.
Yes,
And so
ma'am.
and then we wrap up. But forgiveness
Okay.
is so important.
Yes.
So what does a good night's sleep look like for you?
A good sleeping through the night without having to get up to use the bathroom. That is, and without, tossing and turning. But honestly, like I said, I've had many problems, but sleep was never really one until probably about 5 months ago. I started finding myself getting up, 12, 1, 2. And I'm like, Lord, what is going on? I have never had any problem sleeping. And you could ask anybody that know me. They know I love to sleep. So it happened gradually. And at the same time, my hair started to falling out in chunks. I've
Mm.
always had thick hair, even with PCOS. Sometimes the edges would get a little thin, but they'd always, come back. But never had. So both of those things were happening at the same time. And I instantly knew, because I educate myself and I've,
Something was
knew it
going
was around
on
the
here.
corner. I said, menopause, or perimenopause rather. And
Yes.
sure enough, went to the doctor and realized my estrogen levels had completely tanked. I had no estrogen. So I ended up getting on hormone replacement therapy. And it took about a month or two to get into the system. And now I'm back to sleeping and my hair is thriving and all those things are
Look
back to
at
the way it
God.
was. Yep.
Praise God that it worked for you. So
Yes.
yeah. Do you have a certain amount of hours that you sleep each night? You think you
I
do?
tend to get to bed about 9 o'clock on the dot, and I'm very faithful with that. My morning commute, I typically will get up about 4 o'clock in the morning when I have to work to, make my morning commute to downtown Atlanta for work. So I'm very, my husband will tell you, 9 o'clock, everything shuts down right on the dot. I'm in the bed at 9 o'clock. So I'm pretty faithful with that without
Yeah.
problems. But my evening routine, yes, sometimes I am on the phone, but we do turn all the lights off and just have lamps on. Even in the bathroom, I keep a lamp. So to calm myself at the end of the night, I stretch every night and my body will know just to unwind. That helps me a lot, a nice stretch. And then I'll watch either some R&B videos or travel shows and I go to bed.
Praise God. That's amazing. Thank you. Keep it up.
Mhm.
Because we
Yeah.
come and checking back with you. We don't think we're not going to come back and check with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Even if we're going to come to check about your 30 years marriage, you're
Yes,
such an
ma'am.
amazing story.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you were going through this perimenopause, how did
Hmm.
this poor sleep affect your mood, patience, and your
Oh,
spiritual life?
and again, you nailed it in the very beginning when you were going over with the introduction of talking about sleep. When you get poor sleep, I instantly know, and I had already told my boss today is probably not going to be the day for you to come to me with anything bad. And in HR, you just never know what might come up. But my whole day would be thrown off. I'm going to be honest, because that is when I can't necessarily control the food noise. I
Mm-hmm.
want sugar. I want
Yep.
lots of it. I want whatever it's going to take to keep me, on to keep me active and not from being tired. And I know I have definitely fell asleep a time or two at my desk when I was going through that couple months of with the estrogen
Perimenopause.
dropping with
Yes.
perimenopause. Yes, so definitely food cravings, and I could, again, I'm going to work out no matter what. But my energy to do those things, to especially the harder workouts, I didn't have it. I'd get
Yeah.
through it, but it just wasn't there.
Thank you. So let's bring in the issue of forgiveness here. Um, Sleep is disturbed, and actually,
Mhm.
let's actually go to Psalms 127 2. It
Okay.
says, He gives His beloved sleep. That's God's talking, and
Mhm.
the psalmist writing. What does that promise mean to you? And then on the flip side, I want to talk about when your sleep is disturbed, not because of perimenopause, but because of something stress or an
Mhm.
issue you're dealing with. How does that feel? So let's talk about the promise. So what does Psalms 127 2, he gives his beloved sleep. What does that mean to you as a believer?
Sleep is a gift.
It
It
is a
really
gift.
is. If we don't believe it, just ask anybody who have sleep problems. It really is a gift. So I am really thankful that that's the one thing prior to the little bout with perimenopause I've always been able to do. But it really is a gift.
It is.
Um, so I definitely believe, because I know too many people that have terrible sleep patterns and they're up all night. I am not one to say, when I go to bed and I lay my head on my pillow, I, I don't take anything with me. Now, yes, I can say sometimes in my sleep I might not see some things, but really I try to have whatever I need resolved before I lay my head on that pillow. I
It's a
try to
great
be at
way to
peace
do.
with
Yep.
whatever I've done throughout the day, my actions. So when I lay down, I'm very comfortable and I go right to sleep. So I
Yeah.
try to just do right as much as I can so that I'm not bothered when I sleep. Yeah, I might be worried about some work deadlines. I might wake up a time or two, but overall, I really don't have that issue.
Thank you. Well, I've had some issues in the past, just going to bed. It's so much sometimes coming at you. I run a ministry, I work, I have children, I got a
Hmm.
daughter who's not very sick at the moment.
Sorry.
And so, what I find is centering myself and praying, spending time journaling,
Hmm.
like almost pours out what I'm thinking about. So then I
Hmm.
have a better night's sleep because I'm bringing it to God. And of course, making sure I'm praying and reading the word, is constantly pouring that in is what helps
Hmm.
us to have sleep, sweet sleep, and to rest in God
Hmm.
because we realize that He's faithful to His promises
That's
and
true.
He never slumbers asleep. And so when I am getting up and I'm pitching around, I'm like, okay, so girl, what is wrong with you? God's not sleeping. So your job is to just release everything. And I have said that to myself. I turn my hands over and hold my hands
Hmm.
together like this and say, God, this is me in my sleep. I hold your strong right hand because He said He will hold me by my strong right
Hmm.
hand and He will help me. And I say, I hold your strong right hand and I turn everything over to you and fall back asleep because I need to sleep. He doesn't sleep. So if we can trust that His promises are true, that He's never sleeping,
Hmm.
and that one of the other things is, start worrying about things. And I have two signs in this different part of this place. Do not worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything.
Hmm.
Right. So
Mm, I
bringing it
like
to
that.
God,
Yep.
journaling,
Hmm.
praying, holding on to His strong right hand. And I've had to do that in the night. I reminded myself, He's not sleeping. So your job is to sleep so you can do the best for Him and His work. Because I'm working for the Lord. I do everything as unto the Lord. So if He's not sleeping, why am I up worrying about stuff? And He said
That's
sufficient. And Pastor
true.
Laurie's on the phone last night when in our group we talked about that. Sufficient is tomorrow's trouble.
Hmm.
The day has its own trouble. Tomorrow has its own trouble. If I'm starting to worry about what's going to happen next week, what's happening the other day, if I'm going to meet the deadline, bringing tomorrow's trouble into my day, and it's like a rocking chair. It's going but it's moving, but it's not taking me anywhere.
Hmm.
And so that's what worry is. And it's fear which is false expectations appearing real. It's fear, so we become fearful.
Yes.
But it's just calming yourself down, reading the word and say, okay, do I trust God? Do I trust everything He said? And then trying to release. And so I have to go through some of that ritual myself because life can come at you and
It
it's
can.
like it's coming from the roof, the sides,
Hmm.
the bottom, and you're feeling overwhelmed. And so, if anywhere you're hearing me tonight, anywhere or today, anywhere you are in this world that you may be struggling with the sleep, think about God's promises. Focus on His word.
Yeah.
Journal, pray, and just let it go because regardless of who we are, He is still bigger and thinks higher than us, and He has plans to prosper us if we are believers. So that's what keeps me, Mrs. Robinson. Pastor
Love it.
Laurie, did you say something? Okay. Do you have any late night habits, Mrs. What do you have any late night habits? Scrolling, snacking, or stressing, or you've
Well,
gotten over that?
sometimes I do, tend to mindlessly scroll through Facebook. Um, so that I am guilty of. But like I said, usually, I'll stretch and before I go to bed, watch something, put pleasant thoughts in my head, whether it be just some nice, relaxing music
Music.
or travel shows, which I love, and that puts good imagery in my mind. And then I go to bed, pray, and I go to bed.
Praying to go to bed. Thank you.
Mhm.
No, I'm wondering this question about lifestyle. Have you ever connected forgiveness, anxiety, or unresolved emotions to your sleep struggles? Or have you known anybody who, I've just shared some of what I have done. Have you known anybody in your
Oh,
family
there
that's
are plenty of
experiencing?
people that worry and they never sleep. Like I said, I'm fortunately I don't have those issues, but I know plenty of people who at night they're thinking about what they're going to do the next day or issues that they have. And but those are the people that tend to have a lot of sleep issues. They don't sleep anyways, and again,
Yes.
it's so detrimental, to your health. So I would always tell them, no matter what you do, go get a doctor, go find somebody that can help you sleep.
Thank you so much. All right. So forgiveness. We talked a little bit about that. And I
Hmm.
know you said you had to let that go.
Oh yeah,
Do you,
yeah.
as you think back to your life journey in your 50s right now, was there a time that you had to really stop to forgive something that was deeply hurtful to you? And did that affect your sleep and how you ate? Do you remember any
Um,
instances?
I wouldn't say like it affected my sleep, but definitely did it cause me to eat to comfort myself? Sure, but again, through church and different close family friends, you just realize forgiveness is for you. You can stress about whatever was done to you all day long. It's not going to change anything. That burden's on you to get, through it. That person is not thinking about you. More than likely, they've moved on with their life, and you're carrying the burden and just, the ill will and whatever that harms you and not the
Yes.
other person. So you have to let it go. So I'm a
Yes.
firm believer in that.
Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about another Bible verse. Come to me in Matthew 11:28. It says, come to me, all who are weary. As we think about that as Christians, what does that invitation mean for somebody exhausted in every way? Sometimes I felt that way, emotionally, physically.
Mhm.
It's like the floodgates have opened on some of
Mhm.
us. We are professionals, we have families. What does that, not maybe not to you only, but to others that might be listening to this, what
Mhm.
does that invitation mean for somebody
Like you said,
weary?
take it to the Lord in prayer. you know um like much like you, I have friends that do a lot of journaling. They'll write everything down
Yeah.
through journaling, whatever you need to process your issues to give you peace in life. We're nothing without peace, so whatever it takes, figure out a strategy and make it work.
Thank you. So, like we did with the forgiveness, the food section, I wanted to sort of talk a little bit about what would be, you are an awesome sleeper. You only had a little stint with perimenopause. What would
Hmm.
be some advice you would give to listeners about sleep? And
Okay.
then I'm going to do the same thing with forgiveness.
Sure.
Go ahead.
The biggest thing I would say, diet is very important. Do I try not to I believe in intermittent fasting. I don't think I talked about
Yep.
that. So
Yes.
I am done eating by 3 o'clock. I try to have all my liquids done by 3 o'clock so I don't have to get up throughout the night. Of course, I'll sip water if I'm, happen to be thirsty, but I drink throughout the day enough that I can get through the few hours before bed. Because by the time I get home, at 4:15, 9 o'clock is right around the corner. So it doesn't leave
Yes.
much time for family and other things that you want to do. But the biggest thing is to watch what you eat. I know when I eat poor on the time frames when I was sleeping bad, I paid for it at night. I would. So definitely
Yes.
think about that. Try to have all your meals digested 3 hours before you go to bed. That
Yeah.
will help.
That is actually evidence-based, because what
It is
happens if
evidence
you
based.
don't is that the body is working to digest those foods, and the whole
Yep.
system is in disarray. So yes,
Yep.
correct. As we think about forgiveness, and especially with the definition I had at the beginning about
Hmm.
the two different types, decisional and emotional forgiveness, in your journey to today and this excellent trophy of grace you are have become, what would be something you would say, one or two things that you would say to the listeners today about the issue of forgiveness and how it affects your health, your sleep, just any advice you might have for listeners today as we
If
wrap up?
if you are having a hard time dealing with forgiving somebody that's trespassed against you, seek therapy. I have spent many years in therapy for the wrongs that have been done to me, and know that it's more than likely, especially if you were a child, it's not your fault. Nothing you could have done to change or prevent it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you pray on it again, and you release it. You have to, because if you keep it, it will eat you up.
Yes, it
It will
will.
consume you.
Yep. I mean, I was right. I was, I tell people, thank you for that, by the way. I tell
Mhm.
people, I am alive today because I chose to forgive. The stuff that's
Mhm.
happened to me as a child who,
Mhm.
a horrible life story.
Mhm.
And even before I knew what forgiveness was, I would write letters to my parent. I'd write letters. I wrote my first book six forms.
Wow.
It's about my life. It was
Hmm.
horrible.
Hmm.
But I chose to forgive even when I didn't even know what the word was. I'm just going to
Hmm.
let this go because I can't afford. And so in this life's journey, I think there is not one of us who will not have somebody hurt us or stub our toes.
Hmm.
And so it behooves us to say, you know what? If I trust God that everything He's doing for me is to have me prosper and not to harm me, then maybe this stub toe is to send me in a different direction from where He's at. And I actually, my daughter and I was up until like 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock talking last night, and we were talking about something and an issue. And I said to her, "Why don't we go to bed, pray about it, and see what God does?" So 2 hours ago, He answered the prayer. And she said, "Oh my God, Mom, I don't know." Because sometimes we think we have to solve the
Hmm.
problem. But if we turn it over to Him,
Hmm.
He can intervene in ways that is beyond our imagination. We couldn't even conceive it if we tried, right? Because we're just mere mortals. And so it's like, choose to be the bigger person. Let it go. Don't harbor bitterness or anger. Just choose to forgive. And what you will find is that you can breathe and you have a better, more fulfilling life. And here's the best part. For all those people who've hurt us, a life best lived is the best revenge.
Hmm. Amen.
So when you thought I was not going to become nothing,
Nothing. Exactly.
and you thought I was going to be pregnant with 25 kids and scraping the back, bottom of the barrel, and God has brought me to where I'm at today,
Hmm.
then that's the best revenge. And nothing about me. It's not that is bragging. It's about what God can do when you
I love that.
surrender to
That
Him
is so true.
and you get out of His way and let Him work in your life and
Hmm.
into the situation. Because if you keep holding on to it,
Yep.
He can't get to your heart, which needs to change, and He
Hmm.
can't get to the other person's heart. So letting it go and get out of His way is the best way to get this to work. Mrs. Robinson, Monday Robinson, I cannot thank you enough. You have been an amazing guest. I
Good.
hope hundreds of people will hear this. And I cannot wait to bring you back to talk about marriages
Yes,
and
ma'am.
motherhood and all the other topics that we have, and maybe checking in with you from a year from now to see how much more weight you have lost.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I
So,
thank you, Dr. Meg, and I thank Irene for connecting us. You have been such a pleasure and a treat to just spend this time with you. And thank you for your beautiful platform that you have.
yeah, thank you. We can go quickly into, I really appreciate you, Mrs. Monday Robinson. So we talked at the beginning, and so we'll catch up offline, and I'll be in touch with you. So you stay on camera. We're gonna wrap up in a couple of minutes. And
Yes,
if you
ma'am.
have additional comments, that I don't see any questions here. Actually, I have one. I'm looking at both Facebook and text messages. So let me ask you this question: what is one lie people believe about faith and health that you have found that people believe? One lie.
About faith and health.
Health. Uh-huh. You know of a lie?
I do not, because faith is kind of an individual,
Yeah.
journey that we make. And health, well, they're both individual journeys. You can connect them. You have to, I guess process it in your own way, everyone.
Thank you. Well, from my perspective, they're actually connected. So when talk about health is a complete mental, physical, and emotional
Hmm.
and spiritual health, and not the absence of disease. And so we
Hmm.
think, well, I don't have diabetes, I don't have this, but you have unforgiveness, you're not healthy.
That's true.
And when you're in unforgiveness, you don't pray. Just like how Adam was running, you don't pray because you have this barrier between you and
Hmm.
God. And so your relationship with God influences your relationship with his people.
Hmm.
Think about it. If you are mad with everybody on earth, then you're certainly not talking to God
That's
because you
true.
can't see him, and you're seeing your brothers and sisters, you hate them, and you're mad as hell. So both relationships are connected, and faith is big driver of how your health is sort of played out. So there's definite connection. So you could be healthy emotionally, you could be healthy physically, but the spiritual side is
Mm.
anemic, is not going to work. You're really then not healthy. But that's just one question. So we have on the list here. So thank you so much. And I know we have a few people on Facebook and here, and others will view it. So if you have questions, drop it in the chat and I'll bring it up. But we do have some resources and nutrition resources from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. As I said, being a member since dinosaurs were walking on the earth. My plate is the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I know there's some changes there with the new guidelines, so that's being
Mhm.
replaced. I was trying to include that, but I figured that's too political for me right now. The National
I know.
Agricultural Library at nutrition.com is
Mhm.
another resource. We have healthy recipes from the American Health Association, and always promote traditional healthy dietary patterns, including the Mediterranean diet, which is a really great way to eat. Some sleep resources from the National Sleep Center. You can check out their website, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, the CDC, where I worked 100 years ago too, like when dinosaurs were walking on the earth. And some other apps like Calm and Headspace and Sleep Cycle and the CBI
Mhm.
Coach, all good resources with different things, mindful exercises, things that helps with sleep patterns. So
Mhm.
as a person listening today, if you're struggling in any of these areas, these are good places to go. And last but not least, our website is chock full of information, forgiveforhealth.org,
Mhm.
around forgiveness. We have a forgiveness assessment, which we have put in the chat. We're going to drop it again. Um, Miss Robinson, I think did we drop that again?
I I see something in the chat, but I can't.
Okay, but we can drop that later, and if
Okay.
you want to, you could. It's also up on our website, so people can actually go on and complete that assessment. You'll get a copy of it to your email address, and it tells you what your forgiveness scores: forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others, and total forgiveness and situations, and then a total forgiveness score. So there's three different subsets, and then a final score. And we can sit with you and sort of talk about where you need to start this journey to forgiveness. Many people may be forgiving themselves, some may be
Mhm.
forgiving others, and some is the situations at work or in their families that they need to talk about. We are here to help with all of that. So we'll end with a few announcements unless there are other questions. We talked about some of our programming, but this is just a reminder that if you are an adult that is over 18 years of age and you're breathing, we'd love to have you join us at RT and Forgiveness Circles on Friday nights. It's 7:30 right here on Zoom. You can come. We use case studies, we do movies, we do poems. Basically, it's a Bible study using different formats. And then people get to draw and paint and walk away with some tools to help themselves. So last night we actually focused on nutrition. Next week we'll talk about disrupted sleep. So we do case studies on these different things. We have poems, etc. So this is Friday nights. If anybody listening is interested, you can go to our website to register or go to Eventbrite. We also have an RT and forgiveness implementation guide available on Amazon, anywhere books are sold. So Mrs. Monday Robinson, for instance, we'd love this in your church. This is almost 300 pages long. It's not a book, it's a toolkit. And
Okay.
so in this, there are case studies for any organization, ministries, churches that have a family using this. It has all the Bible verses, it has the discussion points, it has everything there. It's one year of programming for anybody to use. So it's available on Amazon or anywhere books are sold. And so that's our last recent publication. We're working on some other things right now. We also have a training program for people who want to implement this training, this RT and forgiveness circles. And so University of Chicago, for instance, is working with their cancer patients using this tool. And so we offer train the trainers for organizations and churches. And so we offer data collection. So when they submit their mental health assessment, their forgiveness assessment, we get all of that on the back end. We have provide technical assistance and support. And so we have trainings for organizations and trainers so they can actually implement the program with fidelity wherever they are. We have RT and Forgiveness Juniors, and that's every Saturday morning. So this morning we talked about stress and how God really wants us to bring our stress to Him and what it means to be stressed. So the kids had a wonderful time. And as I said, there was a child who talked about bringing your stress to God, and she drew the cross this morning. It was such a heart touch, endearing to me and touching my heart. So that's every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. It's also on Zoom. We've had kids from England, from Jamaica. We have people from all over. So Wyoming, Georgia, Florida, jump on. And if you have a kid, think about it this way. It's an hour that you can go take a walk or clean your bedroom or take a bubble bath while the kids are with us. And you'll be there in the background, so there's no harm or worry about them. And we make sure we're teaching them the word of God and they get into talk as kids and really to have fun. So that's Saturday morning. And then we offer forgiveness coaching. So people listening to me today, if you're struggling with food, struggling with forgiveness of a family member, forgiving yourself or your coworkers, struggling with your sleep and all of those things, and just trying to find a balance in your life, our next event is actually going to be that I just should have changed it. This is March, the fourth Thursday of March. I don't know why this wasn't changed. I thought I changed it, but it's going to be March 26th, actually. So I should have said 3/26 at 7 o'clock. People can come to that meeting. It's on Meetup. If anybody here listening to me know what Meetup is, but it's a platform we have. People can join. And we don't go live on Facebook, but you can join and you can hear about our programming. You can hear about the different groups we offer. And if you want to sign up for one-on-one coaching, we offer that as well. So that's on the 26th of March, next meeting. We also offer nutrition services, and this is Nutrition Month. And so I'm going to drop in the chat. As we come to the end of this, and you can see here, you can actually go to Faye Nutrition and Google my name is Megan Saunders and send me an email if you want to see a dietitian. Well, if you have New Year's resolutions, you want to lose weight, exercise, manage your blood sugar, deal with PCOS, as we just talked about, or perimenopause, we are able to help you with all of that. We offer one-on-one and group nutrition and self-management programs as well. And so just check us out on Faye Nutrition or send me an email. And every month we have a monthly prayer call. We've been doing this now for 15 plus years, don't plan to stop. So if you have a prayer request, we'd love to hear that. And we'll pray for you every fourth Saturday at noon. Forgiveness Live. Next month, we're going to go deeper into health. We're going to focus on minority health and wellness. We'll have some dietitians and a few people who are struggling with their health and talk about the impact of maternal mortality in this country and infant mortality rates and other things that are impacting minorities in this country. So that will be next month, second Saturday of each month. Mrs. Robinson, Monday Robinson, hope you can listen in as well and tell others about it. Happy to have you, but this is the best place to be on a Saturday afternoon. And then the last thing here is that we're a 501c3, so we exist and subsist by your donation. So anywhere you're listening to us, you can Zelle us or Cash App us or send a PayPal donation or put us in your will or trust. That's how we survive, by donation. So thank you in advance for those who or go to the website and donate. Thank you for anybody who listens and donate today. So I'd like to end with prayers. Pastor Laurie is still there, I know. Is it possible for you to pray us out? I think she's still there. Not hearing her. Let's pray. Mrs. Robbins, would you like to pray us out? Or you want me to? No?
I'll give that to you.
Okay. Holy God, we thank you for this afternoon and for everything that was said. We thank you for the resources about sleep, resources about nutrition. We thank you for this ministry. Most importantly, God, we thank you for our special guest, Mrs. Sarita Robinson, Monday Robinson. First, we pray, God, it's been a long meeting. I pray that you refresh her, that you'll bless her, God. You will encourage her, God, to continue on this healthy journey she's on. May she continue to be an example to her friends and her community, God, and to all of those people at church and others that are watching her, Father God. Thank you for her being a trophy of grace. We commit this time into your hands. We commit all the listeners who will hear this, God, and we thank you in advance that what we have said today and done will fall on fertile soil. and that many will be blessed by what we've shared. We thank you in advance for what you will do and ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, everybody, in all different
Thank you,
languages for the
Dr.
word.
Meg. I appreciate you.
In all different languages. Thank you for everybody. Thank you, Mrs. Monday Robinson. And thanks to all our listeners. And we'll be back next month. Looking forward to seeing each of you again. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, Mrs.
It was a